It's pretty tough when you get to uni. We ask so much of you, and so much of it is incredibly new. And I've become very conscious that the skill of looking up materials through the library database is one thing that you're probably not getting a lot of advice on. So what I thought I'd do is make a little film that would show you how to do it. So hopefully this will help you. You can see from the bibliography that there are a number of ways of getting the material. The PDF link obviously is to a download which you can download directly from the LMS, and the links, well, you can just click on those and they should open. But the ebook and the e-journals are the ones that you really need to know about. So let's go into the bibliography section. We'll just have a look at week 1. You'll probably want to have a look at Christian's Maps of Time. If you haven't, it's an excellent book. It covers an enormous amount of ground, and you can see that it's an ebook. So how do we find that as an ebook? Well, firstly, we go to the library home page, and then we find ebooks generally through the catalogue. We'll click on catalogue, and we'll type in the title. We could do the keywords, Maps of Time, and there we see 3 different versions of it. One, a book that you can go and consult in the library or even get out, and 2 electronic versions. You can take your pick, but really the one you probably want is the 2011 one. Click on that link and you will see here a link saying connect to ebook. We just click on that and this will take us to the ProQuest eBury version of the book. And you can see here that you've got 2 different options. The first you can read online, and we just click on that, and as you can see in the sidebar it opens up the whole volume. We can go to chapter 1 and chapter 2. Say chapter 3, Origins and History of the Earth, was something I suggested that you should read, and you can scroll through it as you would scroll through something on the browser in Google Books. The other way is to full download it, and in this instance you'll be able to download it for 2 weeks, for 14 days as a loan, and I'm pretty sure that it can be renewed if you need to do so later on. To do the full download, obviously you click on that and go to download your book. Now it will only download if you have this program here, Adobe Digital Editions, which you can have as a free download. And you'll see that I've already downloaded it. I've got an extensive library. Most of what's in the library is expired. There are a few things that haven't expired. And you'll see that earlier I downloaded Maps of Time to consult myself, and I just double click on that and then I can scroll through it at will. I can hit the sidebar, I get the table of contents, and there offline I can go back to where we were in the first place. So that's a highly effective way of getting hold of e-books. Now what if we want to look up one of these things? An article from the e-journals, in this case Robert Ezra Parks' Celebrated Human Ecology in the American Journal of Sociology. Well, let's go back to the library homepage. And here, instead of clicking on the catalogue, we're going to go to the A to Z e-journals and databases. For the moment, you don't need to worry about the databases. That will be for a different day and maybe a different subject. What we want to do is enter the journal title. So I put in American Journal of Sociology. You can see I've been there already. And I go search. And you can see we can do fuzzy searches, and we can do exact searches, and we can do start searches. And there's the list of results, and here's the one we want, the American Journal of Sociology. You'll note when you get to this screen, there are a number of different databases that offer you articles, journals from this particular source. 2 of them, University of Chicago and the EBSCO SOC Index, go from far, far too late for our purposes, 1990, 1997. One of them only covers 1895 to 1922, so no chance there. But here we are. This is the database that's going to do the trick for us. Now, we can try and get to the article exactly, go to the page to do our download. Our aim is going to be to type in the exact reference perfectly to get us to where we want to go. 1936, volume 42, issue 1, start page 1, go. And everything's gone to plan here. Here it is. We can flick through it online and actually read it online, or we can download the PDF. Depending on how you've got your browser set up, it will either download into the browser or download into your folder or onto your desktop. It just depends how you've got it set up. I've got it set up to download to my browser, and then from my browser I can hit that and it will download to whatever program I want it to. Here I'll put it into Adobe Acrobat, and there we have it, and we can save it with the name we want, where we want to do it. So that's the direct way of looking up a journal article. But sometimes through human error, we don't always get the reference right. You'll find this happens rather too often for anyone's liking, but it's quite common because it's very finicky business doing referencing. In this case, and what I often do, is just forego trying to get to the exact place that we want to get to, and just hit go with nothing in there. Here, once you get to this page, you'll find every single edition of the American Journal of Sociology going back to volume 1, number 1. What an amazing resource. Now we can find the article that we've just directly gone to and downloaded by scrolling through the 1930s. There's 1936, volume 42, number 1. And when we hit on that, we'll find the table of contents for all of the different articles. In there, there is human ecology, and there's a number of incredibly interesting other pieces there. In this instance, none of them are particularly relevant to what we're doing, although stationary and changing societies might be. But the Limburg case, so go and look that one up if you don't know anything about it. Articles on the Boys Club and juvenile delinquency. What this gives us is the beginning of a sense of the kind of world in which Park was living that ended up with him producing human ecology. And sometimes we do find stuff that is directly relevant to the thing that we want to download. This opens up the space for incredible serendipity, and I recommend you doing it every time rather than doing the direct search that I showed you first time. Here's another tool that people like to use. It is the Discovery Search tool, which you can do a basic search from in this box here. Let's just look something up and see what comes out. Let's look up Neanderthal, archaeology, culture, and see what we get. It'll probably throw up an enormous amount of results. In fact, it's thrown up 345 results. Some of them in academic journals, some of them in books, some of them in magazines, some of them in news. Let's have a look at what's in the news. I click on the news as the filter, and it'll show me, hopefully, what the latest news is. Well, actually, we've got it sorted by relevance here. Let's date it by newest. Stone Age Britons were eating wheat 2,000 years before they farmed it. That from 2015. 200,000-year-old Neanderthal human remains found in Normandy. Now, of course, beware. This is only throwing up things that are connected to the database search engine, which itself is organised, run, programmed, algorithmed by EBSCO, not any of the others like JSTOR, and that can cause some problems. Let's go to the academic journals. We can, again, as I say, sort it from date newest to date oldest and relevance, and we come up with a list of 221 different articles. And as you scroll down, you'll see that some of them are duplicates because they can be accessed through different databases. The most recent one we can find is from May 2015. Going down the list, some of these will be more useful than others. The vulture in the sky and the hominin on the land. 3 million years of human-vulture interaction. Now that sounds very interesting, and should we want to have a look at it, our best bet would be to source it at Melbourne. So I hit that button and see what happens. This doesn't always work well, but in this instance we find that it's got the metadata sorted out, and there's the article to download however we wish to do it by clicking on that PDF link. Let's go back to the list and see what else we can find. We scroll down the list. We can find occasionally, more often than not, that it will access the full text PDF. We click that there, we download directly to our browser. So this can be an incredibly good resource for finding materials when we're undertaking our research. But it's a resource that we have to use quite carefully. It's only as good as the metadata that underlies it. Sometimes the links don't work correctly. Sometimes they're broken. Occasionally they point to the wrong material. So we have to double check and be careful, and as I say, only as good as the search terms that you put in. Of course, those search terms can be directed pretty effectively if we use the advanced search function. And here you can see that we can search on a whole number of different fields, authors, text, subjects, and we can do it again and again using Boolean searches. And this could be a far more directed way of using this very, very powerful tool. Like anything, any of these tools, the best thing to do is to play with it. It's only through playing that we can discover the full extent of the potential for using these things for our own research.